It was during that moment on the streets where I took the skill set of the paper boy, of the candy seller. I took the skills and the strengths of the most successful drug dealers on the street, and I studied them. I watched them and I observed them. I learned from their strengths, I've learned from their weaknesses. So there was something about me that could never embrace violence or the gang culture, because I knew if I got involved with gangs, that would impact my bottom line, and I couldn't sell drugs in various communities around the neighborhood. So to me, it just didn't make sense. So from a marketing standpoint, I knew that I had to become a master chameleon. I knew that I had to be able to set up a customer base in various communities of individuals who live certain lifestyles. But I didn't know that is what most companies do, and most organizations do. They market their product to various demographics in various different ways. But it wasn't until 1988 when I was blessed with a federal indictment. And when I say blessed, today as a 48-year-old man, I can honestly say that I didn't get arrested, I got rescued from the streets. And it was during that moment and that time in prison that I found redemption. But it didn't happen overnight. There's no magic wand to change. There's no aha moment that transforms your life. There were teachable moments throughout the 10 years that I spent in federal prison. I rebelled when I first went in. I blamed everyone for my shortcomings in life and the circumstances of my family. I didn't accept the responsibility, but it wasn't until I did accept responsibility and I accepted the hand that I was dealt. But it was in prison when education turned my life around. They call me Chef Jeff. I cook today. I've been very successful in the culinary world. But food was a vessel for me to be here today. But it's when I embraced education. It's when I read my first book in my life at the age of 27 that began to transform myself. It was education. It was reading books. It was watching 60 Minutes, 2020, Primetime Live. Reading the Wall Street Journal that I read every single day. But how did I get introduced to the Wall Street Journal? Media, middle-class values. Well, it was in prison when I took the same skill set of building relationships on the outside in prison. Now, I was in the federal system. In the federal system, you have a more sophisticated convicts in the federal system versus the state. I was in prison in the mid-'80s and the '90s, and I was in prison with the likes of Michael Milken, Ivan Boesky, CEOs of corporations, Wall Street boys, hedge fund traders, counterfeiters, federal judges, politicians. And these guys in prison, I've never really associated with individuals who never looked like me or didn't come from the community that I came from. So after I earned my GED in prison, I began to build relationships with the brightest minds on the prison yard.